Hello, welcome to the Paper Snob. This is Tara. Today I am working on May I Scraplift You. This is a monthly hop that is hosted by Crystal over at Pineapple Papers. And each month we pick somebody that we want to scraplift individually, not as a group. So if you watch the hop below, you're not going to see, unless it's completely by coincidence, scraplifting the same person and or layout. So I chose to scraplift my friend Deb, and I'm going to pop her layout up here. I will have her Instagram account listed below so that you can leave her some love on her Instagram account. And so let's talk about what I've got here. The focal point of Deb's layout happens to be the cut file. The cut file, it was created by HipKit, and I have already cut it out, and you can see I've kind of I haven't done anything other than cut it out. So I'm going to leave that on my mat for now. And then I have my counterfeit kit. This for July, this was a mini kit, and I have a whole bunch of papers. They're scraps from previous layouts, and I also have a background sheet as well. And I gutted this piece for another layout and then didn't use it. As you can see, I had it glued down to something, so now it's just kind of sticking on the back of the sticker sheet. The sticker sheet came from Basic Gray's Capture. I have some Basic Gray in here. This piece here is from that collection, Capture. But other than that, I'm just using kind of a mishmash of stuff. I've got a small set of foam alphas here. They're blue and white. So I have that for a title. I have the sticker sheet. I have my photo of my two youngest. Background sheet of paper did not come from my counterfeit kit. It's just a piece of pattern paper from one of the Simple Stories Christmas collections called Santa & Co. So I'm going to pause. I'm going to get started. Going to remove Jasper off my desktop. I'll be right back. So I went ahead and off camera I did back that cut file using the scraps of papers that I showed you at the beginning from my July counterfeit kit. I also showed you at the beginning I had a frame where I got a piece of 12 by 12 pattern paper for another layout, and then ended up not using that frame. And well, I'm going to use it here, and so that's what I'm doing now. Is I'm trying to get my frame on here even. It takes me a couple of times to get it on here pretty evenly, so that is fun. Actually, I think I did really well the first time, and I'm trying to work in as quickly as possible here so that I don't take up a whole lot of your time. But now I've got my frame attached, and that makes me happy. I'm going to trim this photo down just a tad. I also trim it a second time here in a minute because I want to use this frame instead of matting the photo. And I realized as I was going to lay the frame down that the photo was just a little bit too large, so I took off another 1/8 of an inch or so off one side. I know I'm a little bit off camera here, but I'm trying to get that frame on here as evenly as possible without covering up my children's faces. They were of that teenage age where getting too close in a photo was yucky. So that's kind of what I'm doing. So now I'm going to sit here and work on doing this cut file, trying to get it on here as evenly and as easily as possible. So what I'm doing is I had this circular stamp sitting here off to my side, and I'm using that kind of as a guide so that I can get this on here in a circular fashion. I'm not using that stamp for anything other than as just a guide, and I'm going to pull it off here in a minute anyway. So what I did when I backed this cut file is the floral piece, I just used the front, the A and B side of that floral paper, and did every other star with the front or the back so that I would have some decent colors on here. I loved that the B side of that paper actually brought in that green that is in my background. The green is also in the floral side, but it's not as noticeable once I started cutting it out. So now I'm just kind of trying to get these little pieces in here in somewhat of a circle, and I've already thought that the next time I try to use this cut file, maybe I will put a circle in the center of it before I cut it and weld it together so that it is a lot easier to get onto the page. I really was kind of struggling with this just a tad. So my photo is going to be semi-centered in the middle, and I know that I'm doing things a little bit differently than Deb, but her layout is definitely gorgeous, and the Starburst cut file is pretty much the centerpiece of her layout, pointing you towards the photo of her little pup. And so I liked that idea, you know, making the cut file the centerpiece, but you know, because of the way it is, it points you directly to the photo. Now, she had some other elements on hers that I did not put on mine. Honestly, I didn't see them until after I'd already glued everything down, but she had a couple banner pieces up in the top, and I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna leave that off because I do spread my circle out just a tad so that it fills up more of that background. Also, I am not gonna be using those alphas that I put into my beginning because I decided to use the sticker that says "You are so wonderful," and then I'm cutting a piece out of the back side of the paper that I used to back the little part that makes the sunburst. I don't know what you call that. So anyway, that is where I'm at. I've glued everything down at this point. I did want to add a few more embellishments to this layout. I'm gonna add, I believe, 4 flowers and a dragonfly in total. They're kind of large, so I am trying to pull out the flowers that are small. I thought about using that pink one, but again, they're really too large for this layout, so I ended up using the 3 smallest ones in that dragonfly, and that does a pretty good job. I kind of play around a little bit, just kind of making myself think about what it is that I want on this layout, and that is about it. All right, I got everything all glued down. I did add a little bit of foam adhesive under one of the flowers and that dragonfly on the left-hand side. That made things pop just a little bit for me. I also added a journaling label to the bottom of my right cluster. Deb had a lot of space on her layout for journaling. I may have cut my cut file larger than what she had, and that's fine, but she had plenty of space on her layout to journal directly onto her layout, and it looked amazing, but I didn't leave room for that, so grabbed that journaling label, did a quick little sentence about what we were doing, where we were at, and that is about it. I want to thank you for coming to my channel today. I really appreciate those of you who take the time to like, comment, and or subscribe to my channel. If you're new here, I would love to have you as a subscriber. My subscribers are responsible for building this channel for me, and I appreciate all of those likes, comments, and subscriptions, so I'd love to have you. I hope that you will click that button down below. If you want YouTube to notify you when I put out new content, there is a bell down there. You can click that and they'll send you a notification when I upload new content. My goal is 3 to 4 per week. For the month of July, I am hanging out with my 11-year-old granddaughter, and we're having a blast, even though we have no air conditioning. So I am kind of only putting content out as I am able this month, but regularly I get 3 to 4 per week, sometimes more. So thank you again for coming here. I appreciate all of you. I hope that you have a great Saturday and a wonderful weekend. Bye.